What's good, y'all? Welcome to the first ever podcast. We are your hosts today. I'm Armani.
And I'm Taj Muhammad.
And this is the Peace of Mind podcast, where we talk about your happiness, health, and wealth, and just overall how to live a more meaningful life. Right? So as far as what this podcast will contain, you want to touch up on that?
Shoot. So this podcast is really something that we came up with like on the fly. You know, my business partner had hit me up about, hey, let's start this podcast. We were talking about it for a long time, and he had hit me up. And after that, we literally just started taking action, and within a week, now we got this podcast up and running. You feel me? If you want to touch up on anything from there.
Absolutely, yeah. Like he said, just the thought of it came into a reality, and you know, what we'll be mostly talking about here is, you know, practical things that you could do on a day-to-day basis to, like I said, live a more happy, a more healthy, and a more meaningful life. So with that being said, our vision for this podcast is to hopefully influence and impact as many people as we possibly can. And that's why we're here, to share the knowledge, share the wisdom, and like I said, help as many people as we can. So that's perfect. That's perfect where we are now. So let's get into our journeys and exactly the things we went through and what we did to end up where we are right now. So
Okay, I'll start that off.
Absolutely.
So what's crazy, actually, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for this man right here. You know, right before I had came back into town, into Vancouver, where I'm from, I was, you know, in college, kind of lost, going through depression and mental health issues. And, you know, I didn't know where I was going. I ended up dropping out and coming back home. And, you know, I'm super grateful to be able to have found a mentor as him, such like him. You know, as I got through the experiences I went through, and, you know, I was going through tough times. And once this man came into my life, you know, I was able to, you know, start learning what it takes to improve on yourself on all aspects of life. You know, like we talk about happiness, health, and wealth. And, you know, ever since I met him, you know, it's always been about taking action and getting the results you want, chasing your dreams. And, you know, if it wasn't for me meeting this guy, like I said, we wouldn't be here doing this today. So I'm thankful for that. And
So I got a question for you. As in regards as, you know, your history and your journey, when you were in college, you know, what was your mindset? Did you always think big? Did you always have, you know, a vision for your life? How did that go about? How did you create a vision for your life while in college? Or did you have one?
I did. And for me personally, I grew up being an athlete, playing multiple sports, but, you know, football was always number one for me. Well, all the way throughout elementary to high school, whatever, and I got to college, and I was playing football in college, and the plan was always to go to the league, right? And that was always in the back of my mind, vision, go to the league. So once I started going through my mental health issues and wasn't able to afford, like, going to my school and stuff like that, you know, I really felt lost, and I lost my vision. So I was really stuck in a place to where I didn't know where I wanted to go in my life. And literally meeting this dude helped me find that direction and where I wanted to go.
That's beautiful, bro, because I just read in the book the other day, the most important turning points in our lives happen in the most unexpected ways and at the most unexpected times. You know, so you coming to the end of that journey, realizing that, you know, you might not make it, that's what could have been your biggest turning point. And that's a beautiful thing because, you know, for the people that are lost out there, that feel like they have no sense of direction, just know that it's okay to move on to the next thing, because you never know where your curiosity might take you. You know, you might find a new passion. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing, man.
All right, so I have a question for you as well. So obviously, you know, as I met you, you know, you were on your, you know, entrepreneurship vibe. And, you know, before you were on that, you were working at Amazon and you were a basketball player. What led you up to the point to, you know, this moment where we are right now?
Absolutely. So let's just start with my whole journey. You know, what led me up to. I'm not going to bore you guys with my whole entire life, like when I was born and stuff like that in my childhood. But, you know, I'll start back about 4 years ago. During that time, you know, it was, I felt like as if I was going through the darkest moments of my life. You know, my dad was on drugs. We were barely making ends meet. You know, there was always fights in the house. And, you know, just graduating high school, you know, having that mindset of, like, you're supposed to know where you want to go. But for me, I was so lost and so depressed. And, you know, I had no direction in my life. You know, and as life was going on, in that moment, it felt as if, like, that season was never going to end. So I remember one day, bro, just, you know, praying to God and, like, asking him for a way out. And it wasn't conspicuous in the moment, but he gave me an answer. You know what I mean? He gave me an answer. And at the time, I was dating a girl who's now an ex. And she had a friend who was in a network marketing business. And I was interested. You know, I always had a mindset for open-mindedness. You know, so I was always open to try out new things, open to, you know, fail. Because that's what life ultimately is, just failing over and over again until you find out what it is that you want. And I happened to get into the business, and I happened to see a lot of success in it. But more importantly, I was able to meet a lot of people who thought a lot differently than what I was used to. You know, so I was introduced to people who thought about success, who taught me about the law of attraction, who taught me about having a positive attitude. You know what I mean? And that was the biggest turning point in my life, is when I started meeting new people, being introduced to new information. And honestly, that's what really started it. And as I was climbing up the ranks or whatnot, you know, I got a big ego. You know, that's what happens. And you know, God humbled me really quick. And I went from a certain rank and to all the way back to the bottom, and that really humbled me. And it made me realize that, you know, some things in life just aren't meant for you. And I realized that, and I'm okay with that. So after that happened, I kind of went into a depression. You know, I stepped away from the world. I isolated myself. You know what I mean? And everything was about me. And then about a few months ago, or I'd say about, you know, 3 to 4 months ago, you know, I had a realization, and it was to stop being so selfish with the knowledge, with the wisdom, with the health, everything. Because during that isolation time, I was so focused on me that I actually, you know, for the first time in my life was growing. You know, and as I was growing, it felt really good. Right. So I wanted to keep going, like, for myself. And then I realized, like, how many people in the world right now are out there that are struggling just how I was, who might have been going through the same things that I was, you know, who are going through a season of darkness, and they feel like, you know, they're never going to get out of it. So that's when I realized, and that's when I made a decision, man, is like, you know what, I'm gonna use my voice and use my story to hopefully inspire the person who watches this, or whoever we attract, to, you know, go out there and take action on their goals and visualize, instead of visualizing what they have as problems, visualizing what they want in life. You know what I mean? So that's what really led me to this moment. And that's why I called you, because I had a realization, and I'm just grateful that, you know, you said yes.
Yeah, so.
You know, because I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I don't know who else I'll be able to do this with. You know, we think alike, the actions we take are very similar, and I'm just very grateful that you know, took me up on the offer. You know, and here we are, a week later, you know, running up a podcast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy. Like, you know, like he said, you know, I said yes, and I had to, because, you know, when he was talking about his journey earlier, you know, he was talking about what led up to his purpose and what led up to his being where he's at right now. And sometimes all it takes is meeting the right person, being in the right environment, surrounding yourself around the right people. And not everybody truly understands that, you know, and sometimes in order for us to grow and learn more, we have to experience new things and get out of our comfort zone. You know, there's this quote that I really like from Bob Proctor. He said, once we stop reaching, stretching, seeking, and risking, we actually stop growing. So just like anything in nature, like a tree, for example, you know, it starts out small and it's growing, it reaches its peak. But once it stops, it starts dying, the leaves start falling, and eventually the tree falls down or whatever, you feel me? So, you know, environment is something that we'll definitely touch up on in the future, you know, but that's enough about our journey. We're here for you guys. We're here to inspire you guys and help you live a more happy, healthy, and wealthy lifestyle. So we want to talk a little bit about our mission and purpose for the podcast, and just dive a little bit deeper into, you know, what we touched up on earlier in the show. So, Armani, if you want to touch up on that.
I truly believe that the greatest human act is to inspire another individual. And with this podcast, that's what we hope and pray that it does. That it reaches out to you who might feel like, you're not going anywhere in life, or you have no purpose, or you don't have that that guidance that we were fortunate enough to have, through mentorship, through each other. You know what I mean? Because like you said about environment, man, you have to make sure you're surrounding yourself around people who have what you want, who think a lot differently. In the Bible, in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33, it states that evil company corrupts good habits. So if you want a better life, you're going to have to change your habits. And that's what I realized. So, making sure you're surrounding yourself around people who have good habits is very crucial. And, with the mission and our purpose is to help you change your paradigm, change the way that you think, and change your habits. So ultimately you can change your results. Especially if you don't like where you are. Because the first step of solving a problem is realizing that there is one. And hopefully, with one idea or one thing that we say, it sparks an idea in your mind that causes you to move forward in life, to experience massive growth and success. So that's honestly our mission. Taj?
Just touching up on that, I've always had a personal dream myself just to inspire people, whether that was through football, being able to make millions in the league and then, coach kids growing up, whatever, through those type of things, or, with my entrepreneurship journey, finding ways to help other people reach the results that I had reached before. And now with this, I really, truly believe that this is the way that my business partner and I can truly impact and inspire people to, be able to live a more healthy, more happy lifestyle, that we've thankfully been able to, experience, and we're continuing to grow on a day-to-day basis. We're definitely not the smartest people in the room. We're definitely not, the richest people ever, but we're constantly growing. And, I realized that I have a passion for speaking, and it took me a while to realize that. So if I have a passion for speaking, I have all this knowledge and wisdom up inside my head, why not share it with you guys and let you guys take whatever from it that you want to take from it?
So let's stay here for a little bit. So speaking is your purpose. How did you know that was it? How did you know? Because people go through life questioning themselves, like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? Mm-hmm. So how did you figure that out?
I knew the exact moment. I know. I'll tell you. You were there. So I was going through my entrepreneurship journey, and we were at a big event out in Dallas, Texas, right? And there were so many awesome, people presenting dope information to us and, giving us knowledge that we never learned before. And seeing all these 6, 7, 8-figure earners living the lifestyle that I always dreamed of gave me a different motivation. So the moment I knew that I had a passion for speaking was actually, okay, so I had a gold pass. I was in the front row of the section of the stadium, but I wasn't on the floor level where, like, all the, successful entrepreneurs, the people that had already so-called made it.
Just the more expensive passes.
The more expensive passes.
Just the more expensive passes.
Exactly. So anyways, it was a 2-day event, all day, like 10 hours each day. Like, we was sipping on coffee just to stay up. Yeah. We was up early in the morning. We had a couple of intermissions, and on one of them, I had somehow snuck up onto the floor and got onto the stage. And when I was on the stage, just looking at everybody looking in and how happy everybody was to be at the event, like, that made me realize, like, dang, this would be dope to be able to speak just like, my mentors that are speaking on this stage right now. And after I had left the stage during the intermission and got back towards the event, leading towards the end, the speakers had me so motivated and so inspired that I was literally, like, physically shaking with excitement and, just joy, ready to take on my dreams and accept all the challenges that were coming my way, and once I was feeling that way, I just got an urge to go speak to, my favorite mentor that I looked up to in the business that I was working on. And I had seen him. He was leaving. He was walking out of the stadium, and I had snuck back onto the floor level, caught him, and had to sneak past the security. And I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna speak with you on stage one day." And I still have that in my mind to this day, and that's going to happen. You feel me? So that's how I got my passion to.
Okay, cool. So let's keep it real. This person was not. He was a regular person, but the income that he was making, he was one of the top leaders. So it just wasn't your regular individual or day-to-day person. He was somebody who had inspired and impact probably millions of people by now. So let's stay here then, and I'm gonna interview you a little bit.
Okay.
So seeing you do that, because I was physically there, right? I kind of hesitated, but when I saw you had that self-confidence, like you went up and did it. Where does that self-confidence come from, bro? Like where did you develop it, or have you always had it?
Honestly, I don't think I had really too much self-confidence at all until that moment when I went up to him. Because leading before...
So you had the courage.
I had the courage. Leading
Powerful.
to before, Armani and I, during intermissions, will go up to just random entrepreneurs at the event and interview them on our voice memos on our phone for advice and what their journey's been like. And after doing all that and talking to all these people, and especially the successful ones, I realized they're regular people and they bleed blood the same as we do. You feel me? When I realized that, like, that kind of made me feel some type of way to where, like, dang, they're a regular person like me and they got all this, financial, health, and happiness, all this success in multiple areas of life. And once I saw that, I was like, that could be me too. And when I realized that, bro, honestly, like, it was just a spur of the moment thing. I'm like, dang, I've been watching you from social media for a year now, and now I see you up in person. I don't care what it takes. I got to go speak to you no matter what it takes, and that's what led up to it.
It gave you the inspiration to say, if he can do it, I can do it. And that's why it's so important to surround yourself around people who, have what you dream of, because once you see that they've done it, like you said, there's nobody in the world that's different from you and me. And I'm not anybody special. I'm just a regular person journeying through life, experiencing life, going through life the same way that you are. So that's the thing, is like when you realize that you're not above nor below anybody, but as a matter of fact, you're the same person, your energy, then that'll give you the inspiration to say, hey, if he can do it, I can do it. And, we're here to tell you guys that if we can do this, and we have if we had the courage to start up this podcast, and I'm gonna be real, like I was nervous. I don't know about you, but I was nervous. Like you probably can't hear it in my voice because I'm already in the rhythm. But once you have that courage to do what you desire, then you'll start to realize, hey, if I'm curious, the more curiosity you have, the more likely you'll find your passion. A lot of people are like, how do I find my passion? Or follow your passion. But how do you know what your passion will be if you're not curious? If you don't go try new things. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful that, that God blessed me with the mind of a curious person, because if I didn't go into that business with a curiosity mindset, but instead with a skeptical mindset, I wouldn't be where I am today. So another message is be more open-minded. So let's talk about open-mindedness as opposed to like skepticism. I'll start it off. I feel as a matter of fact, I don't feel as if, I know that the people that are more open-minded and optimistic in life, more opportunities and more doors are open to them as compared to the person who is skeptical. The reason being is because when you have an open mind, your perspective is open, so you have your mind is on new possibilities rather than having a skeptical mind. So when I came up to you to ask you to join my business or whatnot, you were very open-minded. Have you always been open-minded?
Honestly, I truly don't know how to answer that question. I feel like I have been, but at the same time, I feel like you could always be more open-minded and grow more as a person. Excuse me, putting on my hoodie. It's getting kind of chilly in here. But, you know, for me personally, I just, like I said, I had no direction in my life. I didn't know where I wanted to go. And I just got presented this new opportunity. And I showed up to an event. And I got to see one of these millionaires, you know, speaking and influencing me in a type of way that made me feel like, dang, I could do this. You know, he's just a regular person, just like how I felt at the other event. You feel me? That's when I kind of decided, why not just take this leap of faith? I don't really got anything else going on in my life. So I really just took a leap of faith. That's what it was. And then I started getting put onto all this personal development and mentorship throughout the business. And that's what really helped me lead me to the mindset I have today. And for people out there that are wondering what an open mind is like, I'd like to give you two different perspectives right now.
Give it to us.
So say, for example, person A, say his name is Chuck. It is going through it, having so many issues. You know, COVID has, you know, messed up his job opportunities. He's lost family members, whatever it is. So he's like, why is life attacking me right now? Why does life not like me? Why are these negative things happening? Instead of looking at it in that perspective, you gotta look and think about, how can I grow? If you're going through some shit, excuse my language, but if you're going through something negative, ask yourself, how can you grow? And then also, if you're going through good things in your life, if you're having blessings coming your way in all directions, how can you grow from it? That's where you get the sense of humility. Because if you're thinking, oh, COVID is attacking me, that's what your reality is going to see.
Playing that victim mentality.
Exactly. Because there's a balance in everything. There has to be. So anything that has a negative has to be a positive. So if you're looking at things on the negative side of the table, your reality is going to be negative. Because what you think about most is going to come into your reality. You feel me? And, you know, for me, I just had to think of a perspective like, yeah, COVID's here, but I don't really believe in it. I don't think it's real. But in the back of my mind, knowing that it's real and it's hurting people, I know that it can affect people. But in my mind, in my reality, I chose to believe that this is my opportunity to really work on myself. You know, I got fired from my job. I was working at a car wash. And I was like, dang, this is time for me to focus on myself and grow. And what ended up happening was I was growing and learning and constantly, you know, developing as a better human being. And with that, bro, honestly, like,
well, you bring up a very good point. You said, you know, even with all the negative going on, you chose to look at the positive side. Exactly. And I feel like that's the difference that, you know, separates, you can say, happy people from sad people, is that the happy ones, or you can quote unquote say successful, but just know that success, everybody has a different definition of success, but we'll go there later, right? But, you know, you chose to look on the positive side, and the people that have a more optimistic mindset and who are more open to seeing different perspectives on the situation that's currently going on in life are the ones who ultimately see more peace, you know, because like you said, the law of polarity, man, if there's a negative, there has to be a positive. And a good example of that is my story. You know, out of the things that I was going through, you know, it allowed me to see that God put you through things to build your character. And your character, people should focus more on their character versus their reputation. You know, we'll go there a whole different, you know, different podcast episode, but, you know, because let's look at it like this. Let's say you're dealing with a level 2 problem or level 5 problem, but you only have a level 2 character. Now that problem is going to look very big to you because your character is only at a level 2. So as you grow, as you develop, as you experience things in life, and as you grow your character, now let's say you're a number 10, and that problem is number 5, that problem is going to look so much smaller than what you used to look at it as. Because your perspective and your mindset has shifted. Your consciousness has leveled up, right? So growing is very important. You know, making sure that you're feeding your mind, your body, your soul with the necessary things that it needs, so that you are growing, so that you are learning new things, so that your mind is expanding. You know, your mind is like a T-shirt. Once you stretch it out, there's no going back. Or like a plastic bag. You know what I mean? So this is crazy, man. Like how, you know, we turned this thought, went onto paper, and now we're here in this reality. So talk to me about how it feels, man. Like, we're doing this. How does it feel? How do you feel internally, like your spirit, your soul, you know, your physical body?
Bro, I feel like this is what I was meant to do. I feel like I was always meant to inspire people, and I was just waiting for the opportunity to come into my life. You know, I was just thinking about what I wanted to, the type of quality person I wanted to be, the things I wanted in my life, making a decision on exactly what I want my future to be like. And once I did that and kept that image in my mind, you feel me, I feel like opportunities just keep on presenting themselves to me. And it's really just a blessing. So I feel great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just like, it's crazy how we just made a decision. And we were talking the other day, like when I came over down to your spot, where we are right now, and you know, we were talking about preparing versus taking action. You know, we could have prolonged this podcast, but
and what's crazy is like Armani and I have been talked about a podcast for like a year now, and we had ended up losing contact with each other for like 3 or 4 months.
That's when I went into isolation mode.
I'm saying,
yeah,
so like,
crazy.
Go ahead and continue.
No, go ahead.
That's all I had to say.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, yeah, just deciding is just deciding right now that you're going to change your life. You know, that's when your life will change, is when you decide. You know, when you decide to finally go out and start that business. When you decide, you know, to start working out. Instead of telling yourself that you need all this equipment. All you need is what you got. So work with what you have. You know, so this is crazy, bro.
For real.
This is crazy.
For real.
So let's we're gonna close it out with a couple things. So we're gonna give the audience at the end of every show quick advice on how to live a more meaningful life. So do you want to go ahead and start that off, and I'll feed off your energy?
I can start that off. That's a
Okay.
really deep subject. How to live a more meaningful life.
Just something quick and easy. You know what I mean?
There's so many different things that I could touch up on, but you know, like we said, it's just quick advice, basic steps that you can take right now. Like we said, taking action instead of preparing for you to be able to grow. You feel me? You know, without continued growth, right now, where we are now is all we're ever going to be if we're not growing. We got to continue to stretch, you feel me? So, action steps. If you're taking notes on this, action steps that you could take right now to live a more meaningful life.
Give it. Number one.
Find a mentor. Find a mentor. Whatever your dreams are, whatever you're pursuing in life, find somebody that has the results that you want in that area. Even, you don't have to know them personally. It could be a celebrity and follow them through social media. Take their advice. If they say in order to start a successful podcast, you have to do this, this, and this, do that. Don't do what you told yourself to do in your mind because you're not happy with where you're at right now. You're stuck where you are because you were taking your own advice. There's nothing wrong with taking your own advice, but you also need someone to lead you to the greener pasture, the water, lead you to the ocean, you feel me? Where you want to go. So find a mentor is number one. Number two, I'll let Armani handle that.
Yeah, so my quick advice is, you know, I have a quote written down right here that I wanted to mention, and it says, "An unexamined life is not worth living." So, you know, study yourself. Study your thoughts on a day-to-day basis. Study your habits. Study your actions. Because typically it's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions that produces the results in your life. So when you become more mindful and more conscious of your unconscious thoughts, then that's where real change happens. Is when you start to realize, you know, hey, I shouldn't be doing this right now. And I know I shouldn't be doing this. So let's replace this habit with a better one. And when you change your habits, you change your results. So, you know, that's my quick advice. before we close the show, we want to give gratitude to everybody that's, first of all, that's going to be tuning into this this #1 podcast. Shout out to you, bro. I have gratitude towards you. Shout out to the cameraman behind, TAJ'S pops. Without him, none of this is possible. He's the engineer behind all this, and you got to give credit where credit's due. So, where can they find us?
If you want to find us and keep gaining knowledge and keep, getting our perspective on the knowledge we have and the wisdom we have to share, you can follow us on IG at Palm Podcast _.
Spell it out.
POM.
There you go.
PODCAST _ Peace of Mind Podcast, which is what it's called. And through our Peace of Mind Podcast, you'll be able to find our personal IGs. And if you're not subscribed already,
shout out to that YouTube channel, man.
Subscribe and leave a like. And we also have...
Before we go, what do we have for the audience?
We have a huge giveaway. To some people it may seem something small, but to other people it may seem like it could change your life. Mm-hmm. So, in order to get this giveaway, I'm going to announce what it is in a second. What you have to do is find our latest IG post, and you have to follow us on our IG, subscribe to our YouTube. Then from there, you have to repost a snippet of this YouTube video, of this episode, and tag us. Once you do that, you could comment when done. And then after that, you'll be entered in a raffle for $100 cash giveaway. And once you comment done, this is not the only part of the giveaway, because money is materialistic. We're not here for all the materialistic stuff. We want to help you grow your mind. You will be winning a deluxe edition of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is my personal favorite book. If you ever see me in public, I'll probably be carrying this in my hands. I don't even have the deluxe edition. So if you do win this giveaway, make sure you take good care of the book. It's going to treat you well if you, listen to the advice that's in here. Just a little touch up on what it's about. Napoleon Hill, got to be able to study, hundreds of the most successful people in the world, and not just financially, just healthy, happy, wealthy, like we're talking about. And he came up with the formula in this book. The secrets are in this book. But the first time you read through it, you may not be able to understand it all. I've personally been through this 3 times. But I don't want to get too deep into this book. You're just going to have to find out when you win the giveaway. So make sure to follow us on IG and follow all the steps on our IG post. Anything else you want to add?
Subscribe, like, comment, follow us on IG. We got amazing things going out to you guys. This is actually worth more than $100. Let's be real. So without further ado, thank y'all for tuning in. And next week, we'll drop another video for you, bro. Let's get it.
Let's get it.